Hello, YouTube family. How are you all doing? This is Uma again. I promise you, please bear with me. I won't I won't desert you again. Why many African parents lose their children to social workers abroad. Let me tell you how things work in the hospital. Called non-accidental injury. It's a diagnosis on its own. It's something like, for instance, someone come to the hospital, people who are vulnerable, say children, say elderly people, and they come to the hospital and they present with maybe injuries, even if they are healed, maybe bruises that must have maybe healed, and usually they can be in different color. You know that if you have a wound here now and then it heals today, and you have other one tomorrow, it heals. You have another one tomorrow. Sometimes you can have different scar or injuries of different colors, different colors that must have healed, right? So when there is something like that, or when you say you bring somebody comes to the hospital, someone who is vulnerable, for instance, and you're having multiple fractures, or maybe fractures that have even healed or something, and then they can have a diagnosis or suspected non-accidental injury. What that means is that these injuries are not accidental. Do you understand that somebody is doing it? Now, I'm coming to the child. Okay, I just want to give you the background of how these things work so that you, as a mom or as an immigrant abroad, you will also take note, even if you're in Nigeria, at least just see how the system work. Okay, so that's the diagnosis, right? That one aside. Now, the thing is this: when you bring a child to the hospital, when you get a child to the hospital, say for nausea, maybe vomiting, maybe even flu, or any simple thing, it can be a simple thing. And when examining the child, they begin to see scar or begin to see bruises that you are not able to explain. Another thing is, another scenario that can play is when you bring a child to the hospital, say maybe a child had an injury, say burn. Do you understand? Say maybe hot water poured on the child. Now, it may be an accident, but it will be investigated as well. Is it neglect? Is it intentional? And one of the things that um determined for them to say, okay, this may not be intentional. It's one factor that play a role there is when something happens to your baby and you don't bring the child immediately to the hospital. Say a child had a fall and maybe had an injury, had a fall. Now, I say you're cooking or something, or maybe for any reason you delay in bringing the child to the hospital, they can point, it can give a point that it is neglect, or it is or that you were intentional what you did. Do you understand? So they calculate, they will ask you, they want to know the duration between when this baby had that injury and when you came to the hospital. It's a pointer. Now let me tell you, follow me to the end of this video. When you get to the hospital, they will treat the child, and then one thing that we do, they will involve social services. When they involve social services, all the people in the family who are in contact either with the child or maybe an elderly person, remember the first scenario I gave, or elderly person that is being thought to be abused, they will be investigated. They will have series of meeting with social services, with the doctors, with the nurses. Do you understand? And this thing is, it's been like, you may have brought the child for something else, and then they will start this process. So this is how it works. Now, if they think that, okay, maybe your stories are aligning, maybe their stories are the same, what they can do is that they will invite another person to the family that will be under supervision. What kind of supervision? How do I mean that by that? if say your husband and wife taking care of the child, they can invite that, okay, for you people to be able to stay with that child, a third person have to be maybe a more grandmother, grandfather, whomsoever, but somebody else have to be. That is when they think, okay, that your stories are aligning. That's under supervision. And another case is that they will keep the child, they will not, you will not go home with the child until all investigation and everything is done. Do you understand? And in another case is that they can come to the house to supervise the house if the place is fit, if the place is fit for the child to stay. Do you understand? In another thing they can do is that they can give people warning that if this thing repeats again, child will be taken away. So these are the different scenarios that can play. Do you get what I'm saying? These are different scenarios that can play with social services and so on and so forth. So parents, be very careful. If your child have an injury or anything, take that child to the doctor. Let it be accounted for. Do you get it? So that um it will not wake, there will not be start something that will now be getting investigated tomorrow. And these are the things that we immigrants may not know so much. You will not even understand it because where we come from is not the same. Do you understand? But it's happening. So please, I hope I've been able to teach you something that will help you in keeping your baby. And be very careful. And if something happens, don't waste time to take a child to the hospital. Did you learn something? Please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.